and then the remaining cars all have one credit lap and start a bit later. So the seventh wave of cars has 22 and 4 on it, which is Charlie Plain-Jones in his Austin 7 County Special and Simon Gallen's Austin 7. They start at 1:55 and starting at 2 minute 10 after the first car, 11, 19 and 28, which is James Miles in his Austin 7 Special, 19, John Ingram in the Arthur Mark 2, and 28, Simon Blakeney Edwards in the Austin 7. And the idea of all of this, as the first cars are released to start their race, is that they should all, in theory, cross the finish line at exactly the same time. That is the theory of the handicap race, and that they've been given this penalty of time and laps to try and equalise their performance, and in theory, all of them finish at precisely the same time. So the cars are flagged off at intervals, as we say. We've had the first two waves go off.
Now we have got a full track, like you were saying, Ian, has made the handicap rather challenging, hasn't it? And perhaps somebody that hadn't gone so well in the damp may go better in this handicap.
I suspect that will be the case, because I think some of the historic 750 Formula cars from Class C have been given actually fairly generous handicap in what is now dry conditions, I would suggest. And some of the Austin 7s may have been given maybe a reasonably tough job to do. This should be a quick pairing going there, which was the Lyndon Thruston and Johnny Sadler pairing.
Just looking at the results from race 1, everybody did 5 laps in that earlier race, and the margin from the winner to last, 3 minutes 52. That's not something you see very often in a British motor race, is it? They're the kind of gaps you see at the Nürburgring and really nowhere else.
Well, and the point is in this one, we shouldn't have a gap from first to last of anything like 3 minutes 52. That's the theory. They're doing 6 laps this time, the quicker cars.
Yes, this race will probably be, well, I know it is dry, you can say maybe over 15 minutes, but now it's dry, maybe not. There goes Christian Pedersen, who won the first race. So he beat Martin Depper by 41 seconds in the damp. Yeah, but he's only starting, 25 seconds behind him, isn't he? So they have sort of cut that down a bit. We've got a couple of the Austin 7s together here. That's 98, the first of those. He didn't race earlier, John Moss, in the Ulster. So he's already got whatever issues from earlier sorted. And car 10, Stuart Rose, and he only did 1 lap in the earlier race. So both of them, good to see them out after problems earlier on. Yeah,
absolutely right. It's good to see them make it out for the handicap race here at the end of the day.
Here's Martin Depper and Trevor Slatter. We've seen some good battles between the two of them over the course of the season. They've both won twice, once at Mallory and once at Anglesey each, so they should have a good battle. Here is 67. 67 is Paul Mason, isn't it, who turns his way there just ahead of one of the Austin 7s. You went with us earlier. Great number of Austin 7s here today at Snetterton, and really Austin 7, the car that got the 750 Motor Club going all those years ago, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in 1939, when the 750 Motor Club was launched, it was really very much all about the Austin 7 and cars of its ilk. It's been synonymously linked with the 750 Motor Club ever since, although the activities, particularly in the last 20 years of the 750 Motor Club, have become increasingly diverse, more focused on racing than Austin 7 activities than they were. I think that's probably just the natural cycle of things in the world of motorsport and motoring. We have had cars over the line now to complete their opening laps. So Mike Whitby leading by 5 seconds at the end of lap 1 from Paul Mason and Al Frayne Cork, and about 5 seconds behind that you've got Kevin Welsh and then Graham Wilson in 5th.
So of course the cars with credit laps will slot in ahead of those once they come through, won't they?
Yes, they will.
But so Mike Whitby, just to put into perspective from earlier, his best lap in the damp was a 3:25. His lap from a standing still start is a 3:05, so 20 seconds quicker than he was doing earlier on this afternoon.
It's number 28, which is Simon Blakeney Edwards, drive from Shepton Mallet in the Austin 7.
Now, to make this even more difficult for the handicappers, it was Archie Waterfield that drove that car in the earlier race. But that's a shared car, I believe, for today. Good to see the Blakeney Edwards family out here, because we'll see Then down at sort of Goodwood, don't we? So good to see. It's which family member is it today? Simon, isn't it? Of course, Pat Blakeney-Edwards, a real front runner of these types of races.
There's the Warren, driven by Kevin Welsh, the number 78 car, a historic 750 Formula car, very idiosyncratic, as you can see with its design. Look at those upright exhausts, very unusual design feature. And that was the car that was rebuilt at the Raceparts show a few years ago now.
So the actual leader is Stuart Rose, isn't it? Him and John Moss, who had the biggest advantage thanks to the handicap, are a couple of seconds apart after their first fly-in lap. Here's Mike Whitby, who was the first driver to get away, but has got to do one more lap than Rose and Moss.
And Paul Mason is catching him as well in the number 67 car, and that's the Aspley. We've seen Paul Mason race in lots of different historic 750 Formula cars down the years. I remember him racing the Hague at one point, and many of the cars have Reliant 850cc engines, which the main 750 Formula Championship ran for many years, up until the early 2000s, when the 1108cc Fiat Fire engine gradually took over. There we're watching the 200 car of Christian Pedersen making his way through. Now, he was the winner of the scratch race earlier on today, of course, so he's expected to be the fastest driver on circuit, ordinarily.
You mentioned Mike Whitby was being caught by Paul Mason. Well, they're both being caught by Kevin Welsh in the Warren, who's just done a 2 minutes 46, which is significantly quicker than we've seen any of these cars go all day. But there's a change. That's Christian Pedersen getting ahead of Greg and Fruston. Perhaps Greg and Fruston hasn't been given the kindest of handicaps here, you would suggest.
That did strike me as a little bit unfair, that he was being given the same as Trevor Slatter and Martin Depp, who've done much of the winning this season, and are right together again, as they have been for a lot of the year so far. Those two. So at the end of the previous lap, they were in 15th and 16th place, just about to come through to complete their second lap. And they're pretty much side by side as they do so, and up into 14th and 15th places respectively now, those two.
They are 13 seconds away from the lap record, and they're not going any quicker than Kevin Welsh, which bodes well for Welsh. Pedersen now does the best lap, 2 minutes 40. That's still 7 seconds off of Michael Harvey's lap record. There is Kevin Welsh now. Is he one to watch with those lap times? Has he got ahead of Mason and Whitby now, I wonder? He was catching them quickly, and as they're not in front of him, I would suggest the Warren has passed them, which would put him 8th, and which means all the cars in front are all Austin 7 Class A cars.
Yeah, that'd be right, wouldn't it? Christian Pedersen's done the best lap of the race now, 2:40.87, classified 17th. There's Lyndon Thuston, number 23, one of the prime movers behind the historic 750 Formula as well. And there's Johnny Sadler, number 62. They set off together, so Lyndon's managed to put quite a bit of daylight between himself and Johnny Sadler. That's the old John Gaskin car, like John Gaskin, who was such a great supporter of historic 750 Formula, or 750 Trophy, as it used to be known in the days that John was around it.
He had been passed by Christian Pedersen, so perhaps again Sadler was someone that wasn't given the best handicap for him. So Pedersen has gained a couple of positions from the start of the race.
Still leading on our time screens is Stuart Rose, the 70-year-old from Uckfield. He's had this car for 10 years. He's raced and hill climbed this car and sprinted it with the VSCC over the last 10 years. He previously had another Ulster back in the late 1970s, and he used to race a Morris Minor in the Classic Saloon Car Club races, which became Classic Touring Car Racing Club.
He's got a good
when that was
beard
first
as well.
formed. Yeah.
don't normally see facial features on racing
No,
drivers, do
no,
we?
but
we can see that on Stuart as he turns his way through what's that, Oggies, leading by 5 seconds, like you say. He didn't get much of the race earlier, he just did one lap. And through he turns.
Yep.
Onto the back straight, but the pace of Simon Gallen is good, car number 4.
22 seconds a lap faster, isn't he?
So he should pass the top 2. So is it Simon Gallen for the win? That is quite a strong possibility, I reckon.
Yeah, his lap time's 2:57. The best lap time is Christian Pedersen at 2:40, and he's a long way behind still. And yeah, I think Simon Gallen for the victory here is a good shout, actually.
Kevin Welsh is going to gain a lot of positions. I don't think he's got the pace to catch Gallen. Here he is, then Welsh, and a good shot of those upward exhausts that Ian mentioned. Pedersen's now done a 2:35, so he's gained another 5 seconds on his lap time, which is getting closer to that lap record of Michael Harvey. Here's James Miles. He went well in the damp this morning, didn't he?
Yeah, 6th overall in the scratch race earlier on today.
And he's actually 6th at the moment in this. But he is going to be caught and passed by Kevin Welsh before too much longer, you'd think.
That's the number 19 car. That's John Ingram in the Arthur Mark II, one of the Reliant engined cars for the driver from Whitney.
So we've got everybody on the same lap now, so as you'd expect, at halfway through, and only 1 lap credit given to that driver, Stuart Rhodes, as he completes 4 laps. So there's still 2 to go.
Yeah, so what's his gap now over the rest? That's the Simon Gallen car that's just come through, I think, isn't it? In 2nd place, and he's 8.94 seconds behind, and he's lapping 23 seconds faster than Stuart Rose.
And that lap from Simon Gallen is only 6 tenths away from the lap record of Class A, so that's a really good effort. So he didn't go so well in the damp this morning, although he did actually finish 2nd in Class A after Alder and Roebuck retired, but he's going really well in these dry conditions. The lap record is with Ian Grant. Not sure Ian's out in this race, is he?
No, I don't think he made it out, unfortunately.
There's Kevin Welsh. He's got his arm up on the sort of roll cage of that car. I'm not sure if that's what you call it, but
it's just a relaxed approach, isn't it? And one of them has stopped.
Is that Greg and Fruston?
I think it could be, although it's hard to tell. I think it probably is, yeah. All out of the race anyway, which is a shame. So we're on to the penultimate lap of this race for Stuart Rose, but there's Simon Gallen now. Simon Gallen managed to get into the lead, car number 4. Well, he has now, just as I say that. So Simon Gallen takes the lead then, and Stuart Rose, number 10, goes down into 2nd place. So I can't see that there's anyone that's going to catch him. It's showing Archie Waterfield again in this race on our timer screen, but that was a car that was shared with Simon Blakeney Edwards, so one or other of those. Lapping in similar times to Simon Gallen is the point, though, but 30 seconds adrift.
Yeah, so again, both of those drivers lapping very quickly for Class A machinery. As I say, right on lap record pace. And comes over the brow of the very small hill over down the Bentley Straight. So Simon Gallen looking good to win this. He's got 1.5 laps still to do, though. A single seat Austin 7, this, isn't it? Yeah.
Similar concept to Pedersen's, I guess.
But without the supercharger.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, and a retirement. Well, is the 28 car that's out now, which is either Archie Waterfield or Simon Blakeney Edwards, which kind of makes that a moot point.
Shame, because what we're really seeing today is some new Class A drivers coming through, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll continue next year. Simon Gallen and Archie Waterfield, and obviously this morning or earlier this afternoon we saw Mark Elder as well. So if we see all those guys out to take it to Timothy Roebuck and Alfred in Cork, I think we should have a pretty interesting season within the Austin 7 field.
It'd be lovely to see more of them out on a regular basis next year in the historic 750 Formula Series. Which will no doubt be determined in the coming weeks. Still uncertainty hanging over motorsport, as there is everything else at the moment, but we'll be planning ahead for the 2021 750 Motor Club season. So it's Simon Gallen now leading by 15 seconds at the end of lap 5 from Stuart Rose in 2nd place. I think the handicap aim of getting everyone to cross the finish line at the same time is possibly going to go right here, but nevertheless, yeah, because it will have provided a different winner.
Originally, we thought the 750 Formula cars were going to come strong, but it's They're just a little bit too far away, aren't they?
Well, they've not put in, to be quite honest, the lap times I thought they would do. So if I look at people I thought would be quick, like Martin Depper and Trevor Slatter, Martin Depper has had a 2:38, to be fair to him. So he's lapping sort of 16 seconds faster than Simon Gallen on that lap. But it's too late, isn't it?
If you look at that lap record of Michael Harvey, they're 5 seconds away still, Martin Depper, in a similar type of car.
Yeah.
And we've seen Martin Depper win races before, so there's no reason why he shouldn't have got there, you wouldn't think. Now, has he been passed by Christian Pedersen? Not quite. Does Pedersen had an issue? 'Cause I thought he was catching them. He hasn't come through.
No, it doesn't look like he has. There's a slightly slow lap on his previous lap, but yeah, I've not seen him come through this time.
Knew we lost the Austin 7, the 28 car, but we also seem to have lost Pedersen. So that'd be both the single seat, or two of the... no, it wasn't a single seat car for Waterfield, was it? But it is for Pedersen. There's the other single seat car.
Simon Gallen in the lead, yeah, and he's heading down the Bentley Straight for the 6th and final time in this historic 750 Formula Handicap race, which he's dominating, really. Normally you get a much tighter finish at the end of a handicap race than this.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to win by about half a minute, I reckon, which it's pretty unheard of, isn't it? But we suggested this could be an issue with the wetter conditions, and I don't think we've seen much of Simon Gallen before, so even previous lap times weren't really possible to look at.
Of course, another event featuring a handicap is the Burkitt 6-hour relay race at Silverstone next Saturday. And of course that means that anyone in any type of car could be capable of an overall win, so it could be even something like one of the classic stock hatch cars. Pip Hammond, I think, going to be out in his Nova, the new classic stock hatch champion. So anybody could win on handicap, which is the real prize in the Burkitt 6-hour relay race, not the scratch win. Anyway, here comes Simon Gallen through Murray's for the final time, and it's not really had much of a race on. He's had to get past one or two of the slower cars, but he's going to come up to the line here. Checkered flag is made ready, and Simon Gallen then, in his Austin 7, wins the historic 750 Formula Handicap race, a hand in the air to acknowledge the checkered flag, but it's going to be quite a long gap, I think, back to the second place car. Who do we reckon that is going to be? Charlie Plain Jones, possibly?
Well, is it still Stuart Rose in P2? But like you say, Plain Jones is catching at pace. There he is.
There he is, but running out of time because they're coming up to the line. I think it is going to be Stuart Rose then that holds on to take second position in his Austin 7. Up to the line.
There's a number of cars behind though, so we may have got Simon Gallen's handicap a bit wrong, but the rest are pretty close. Yeah,
Charlie Plain Jones it is that comes through in third place, number 22. Fourth place over the line now comes Kevin Welsh. That's in the Warren. Yeah, this is how it should have been. They're all coming over the line together. Fifth, number 98, John Moss in the Austin 7 Ulster. Sixth place, number 11, number 8, should say, Martin Depper in the Centaur Mark 14. Seventh, number 72, Trevor Slatter in the Centaur Mark 11. Eighth, number 11, James Miles in the Austin 7 Special. Ninth, number 26, Mike Whitby in the Jeffrey. 10th, number 23, Lyndon Fuster in the DNC. 11th, number 7, Graham Wilson in the Time 3B. And what was it, 10 seconds covering 8 cars there, I think. Yeah. So that worked reasonably well.
Yes, it's Simon Gallen's done a bit of fooling, hasn't he? With a 40-second win, actually, but it was over half a minute. But yeah, after him, it was pretty good, wasn't it? But particularly those 8 cars, as you say, separated by 10 seconds. But yeah, well done to him. And sometimes the drivers don't actually realise where they're finished, do they? So it may be a surprise Simon Gallen when he gets to hopefully speak to Matt. But these are the right cars to do a handicap race for, aren't they? You don't see many of them anymore. But vintage type cars are the type of cars that enjoy a handicap, and drivers tend to enjoy them as well. When we spoke to them after races, and we normally do about one a year, don't we? Yeah.
Of course, you used to quite often have a handicap race, sort of an all-comers handicap race at the end of a race meeting. Often a 750 Motor Club race meeting at Mallory would end with an all-comers handicap race, where any of the drivers from any of the categories that have been racing during the day could take part.
Do you remember this morning where we went from historic 750 Formula to bike sports?
Yes.
Well, we go from historic 750 Formula to F1000 next.
It's the contrasts, isn't it, that really make it.
Yeah, we just had a comment on the stream from Matthew Manette, who should have been racing in that, just saying about the speed differential from this to the next race.
Well, hopefully we are going to be able to hear from Simon Gallen. I can see that Matt's getting ready in the interview area just across the road from us. So we're just about to get ready for that. And in a moment we will hand down, and then we'll look forward to the first of 3 races this weekend for the Swallow Hill Homes F1000 Championship. Right, I think we probably are now ready over there on the other side. So let's head down once again to Matt Suckling with a race winner.
Thanks very much, Ian. Yep, hopefully our problems are fixed now. We're down here with our race winner from that historic 750 Formula Handicap race. Simon, that worked really well for you. You came out as race winner.
It did. It was quite a surprise because I seem to have spent most of the time on my own, just chasing everybody else. So yeah, I was quite surprised when I went past my wife and she went like that at the end. So I figured we'd done well.
You just came into us there and said there's a few problems, a bit of oil leaking maybe?
Yeah, my right foot was sliding around quite a bit, so there's some oil coming through. But this is actually the first time out with this car. It's one of Alex Miles' pigsty specials, and it's just performed brilliantly to handle as well as it did in the wet this morning as well. Was great.
And these kind of handicap races are brilliant because it kind of shakes up the order, it gives someone else a chance, and it's just kind of interesting to see who's going to come through first.
Yeah, it does, because we're constantly trying to get more and more people into the sport, so constantly you have to mix the grids up and stuff. So when you get a handicap race, everyone's got a chance, as I've just proven. Yeah, it's good.
Enjoyed it and enjoyed Snetterton today?
Absolutely fantastic. First time here, so really enjoyed it.
Brilliant stuff. Well done to you. Congratulations on the handicap win there. A great drive in the number 4 machine. So brilliant stuff there. We did mention and did see actually Christian Pedersen, the race 1 winner, was out unfortunately down at the bomb hole. I saw that on the cameras. So he didn't get through the race 1 winner, but new winner in this one from the number 4 machine, doing a fantastic job. So that's the historic 750 Formula done. We now move on to some great racing.